everyone. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm so glad you stumbled upon this space. For those of you who haven't been around for a while, you know how much I love diving deep into topics that are close to my heart, whether it's about personal growth, mindset, or finding ways to live a more fulfilling and intentional life. Today, we're going to talk about something a little different. Just as meaningful, how nature, specifically hiking, can be a powerful catalyst for personal growth. So before we get into it, let me ask you this. When was the last time you took a moment for yourself to step away from the noise, the routine, and the daily grind? Have you ever thought about how much we can learn about ourselves when we take time to simply be in nature, away from everything else? If you're someone who loves hiking, or even if you've never even considered it, this video is going to offer some insights into how nature, especially hiking, can change your perspective and foster personal growth in ways you might not expect. Now, if you're a fan of stories, especially stories that involve a little self-discovery, you're in for a treat. Today I'm going to share a personal story about a hike that helped me grow as a person, one that really shifted the way I see the world and my place in it. It's not just about reaching the summit or completing a trail. It's about what happens along the way, how the journey itself can reveal things about you that you've never even knew were there. So grab a snack, get comfortable, and let's dive into it. I'm excited to share this story with you and hopefully inspire you to take your own journey into nature. The hike that changed me. It was a few years ago when I decided to tackle a trail that I'd been eyeing for a while. It wasn't one of those easy beginner-friendly paths. No, this was a mountain trail, challenging, rugged, and quite honestly, a little intimidating. I've always loved the outdoors, but this was different. This wasn't just a casual walk in the park. Oh no, this was going to be a test of my physical endurance, mental toughness, and emotional resilience. That's exactly what I needed at the time. I'd been going through a particularly tough period in my life. I was facing a lot of changes, dealing with some personal challenges, and struggling to keep my head above water. On paper, everything looked fine, career going well, relationships in order, but deep down I knew something was missing. I felt disconnected, lost in a way, unsure of my direction. I'd been reading a lot about mindfulness and personal development, trying to understand how I could get back on track. And it was during one of these late night reading sessions that I came across a quote by John Muir, a naturist, an environmentalist, that stuck with me. It said, "In every walk with nature, one receives far more than he seeks." Something about that line resonated deeply with me, and I realized that I had been so caught up in the noise of life that I had forgotten to listen to the quiet, to the peace that nature could offer. That's when I made the decision to take a hike. I didn't have a clear path at first. I just knew I needed something to help me reconnect to myself, to my surroundings, and to a larger purpose. I booked a weekend trip to a national park not far from where I lived and started preparing for the hike. The mountain I had chosen was a challenging one, with elevation gains, rocky terrain, and narrow paths that wound through thick forest and exposed ridge lines. It wasn't just a physical challenge. It was an opportunity for introspection and discovery. Oh, the journey up. The morning of the hike arrived and I woke early, with a nervous excitement brewing inside me. As I stood at the trailhead staring up at the towering peak, I felt a mix of anticipation and doubt. I had read about the hike's difficulty, heard stories of people turning back before reaching the summit, and wondered if I was truly up for it. Not like Mount Everest. Oh my goodness, but it was challenging for me. I committed to this journey, and in a way, I felt like the mountain had become a metaphor for everything I was facing in life. Something huge, overwhelming, and seemingly impossible to conquer. The first few miles of the hike were relatively easy, smooth, and gradual. But the deeper I got into the forest, the more difficult the trail became. The path was rocky, uneven, and steep in places. I found myself having to use my hands to climb over boulders, navigating sharp turns with the rise and the risk of slipping. There were moments when I wanted to stop and turn back, questioning whether I was strong enough to continue. But as I kept going, something strange happened. I realized that the challenge wasn't just physical, it was mental. With every step, my thoughts began to clear. The distractions of daily life, the noise of work, the stress of relationships, the constant tug of responsibilities faded into the background. I had no choice but to focus on the task at hand, placing one foot in front of the other, finding my balance on the rocks, and breathing deeply as I pressed forward. The higher I climbed, the more it felt like I was shedding layers of self-doubt and uncertainty. It wasn't easy. I stumbled, I was tired, there were moments of frustration, but with every step forward, I felt something inside me shifting. The hike had become a metaphor for my life. Sometimes you're on solid ground, cruising along with no obstacles in sight, but other times you hit steep terrain that tests your limits. And yet, the journey never really stops. You just keep moving forward, even when you're not sure of what's next. The turning point. About halfway up, I started for a break. I found a quiet spot next to a small stream and sat down, feeling the cool breeze on my face. For the first time in what felt like ages, I allowed myself to be fully present. No distractions, no rushing, just me and the mountains. I could hear the rustling of the trees, the birds singing in the distance, and the soft gurgling of the stream. I closed my eyes for a moment and took a deep breath. It was in that moment I felt a shift. I realized how often I'd been racing through life without really appreciating the moment. I'd been so focused on getting to the end, whether it was a career milestone, a relationship goal, a personal achievement, that I'd forgotten to truly experience the journey. Nature has this way of forcing you to slow down. The mountains don't rush. The streams don't hurry. They exist in their own time, and you can't help but fall into that rhythm when you're surrounded by it. As I sat there reflecting on where I was in life and where I wanted to go, I felt a sense of clarity begin to wash over me. The trail didn't just lead up the mountain. It was leading me through my own thoughts and emotions, helping me reconnect with parts of myself I had long neglected. I realized that I didn't need to have everything figured out right away. I didn't need to rush to the summit of my life. The journey itself was just as important as the destination. The summit, by the time I reached it, the sun was beginning to dip below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the vast expanse of wilderness below. I stood there overlooking the valley, the mountains stretching out in every direction. It was breathtaking, humbling even. In that moment, I felt small and insignificant, yet deeply connected to something much bigger than myself. The vastness of nature made my personal struggles seem much more manageable, like they were just a small part of the bigger picture. Standing there looking out at the world below, I couldn't help but reflect on the journey I'd just completed, physically, mentally, and emotionally. The hike had been tough, but it also been a profound lesson in resilience, patience, and self-awareness. I had learned that sometimes the greatest growth comes not from reaching the top, but from the moments of struggle along the way. In these moments, that's when we learn who we truly are and what we're capable of. As soon as I made my way back down the mountain, I realized that nature had taught me a very valuable lesson. It's not about pushing through at all costs or reaching some elusive end goal. It's about embracing the journey, the ups and downs, the obstacles, and the quiet moments of reflection. It's about learning to appreciate the process, not just the outcome. So, the power of nature for personal growth. I realized after that hike, I couldn't help but reflect on how powerful nature is as a tool for self-discovery. There's something about being in the wilderness that encourages you to pause, breathe, and truly listen to the sounds around you, to your own thoughts, and to the deeper questions that often get drowned out in the chaos of daily life. Nature provides space for reflection, offering the kind of clarity that's hard to come by in the hustle and bustle of our everyday routines. Whether it's hiking up a mountain, walking through a forest, or simply sitting by a river, nature has a way of stripping away the distractions and allowing you to see things with a clearer perspective. In nature, there's no need to perform. There's no need to be anything other than what you are in the moment. And that, I believe, is where true growth happens. When we allow ourselves the time and space to be in nature, we are able to reconnect with ourselves on a deeper level. We begin to understand that growth is a process, not a destination. We realize that setbacks and challenges are part of the journey, not signs of failure. And perhaps most importantly, we come to appreciate the value of slowing down, reflecting, and being present in the moment. So, if you've been feeling a little lost or maybe just in need of a reset, I encourage you to take a step into nature. Whether it's a short walk in the park or a challenging hike up a mountain, make space for quiet reflection. The lessons you'll learn along the way may surprise you. Personal growth isn't always about making huge leaps forward. Sometimes it's about taking the time to breathe, reflect, and embrace the journey, no matter how difficult it may seem at times. As you move forward, remember that the mountains you face, both literally and figuratively, are there to help you grow if you're willing to face them head on. Thanks for sticking around and listening to my story. I hope it resonates with you and inspires you to take your own journey into nature. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content on personal growth, mindset, and living your best life. Until next time, stay curious, stay grounded, and always remember to take time for yourself. I'll see you on the next adventure.